My mother and father started the organization. My father actually started it in 1958, and then my mother came along a little bit later. She came to one of his meetings, and the rest is history. They had 4 kids, and I'm the oldest. Well, it's not a healthy environment for me. I mean, I think that there are plenty of people who still like the church and like being there, and they get something out of it. But for me, it's like I found it too constricting. A lot of rules and regulations, and pretty arbitrary. After a while, it's kind of like when you have yes men around you all the time, whether you're in a corporation or it's just in life in general. If nobody ever tells you that you're wrong, then you start to believe your own press, and you start to do things that other people wouldn't do. And I think everybody has to have checks and balances, and when you claim to speak for God, that's a little hard. A lot of people came in and they were extremely idealistic. They came in, the organization experienced its biggest growth in the late 60s, early 70s, going into the late 70s. A lot of hippies and very idealistic people, baby boomers, came into the organization with the idea that they could, through their spirituality, they could change the world. And so a lot of them gave inheritances, sold businesses, changed their lives to follow the teachings of the Ascended Masters. And then, gradually after a while, I think they kind of forgot what their lives were originally about, and really it became all about the teachings. And once things started to go off the rails and my mom wasn't getting the feedback that she needed to really keep things on track, they all followed along with that. And I think a lot of people's lives were destroyed. Well, yeah, because a lot of these people are my friends. I have a lot of friends in the church, maybe some of them not so much anymore because they might not agree with my current position, but I grew up around all these people and I love them. And so it's hard when you have to make a choice like that, and it's hard to see people who've been there for 30, 40 years and don't really have any other place to go. And some of them had to leave and start their lives over in their 50s and 60s. And some people are still there, and I get concerned about their medical care. I get concerned about they don't have retirement plans, and those things. I think they should have been thought about way back when. It may happen. I mean, that's it happened with the Mormons. It happened with Scientology. It's happened with a lot of groups that started out on the fringe, and they get enough of a following and they become self-perpetuating. Well, it was kind of a two-step process, because what happened is that initially I started seeing that things began to go not well for the organization, and of course we all prepared for nuclear war, and then it didn't happen. And the excuse was that, well, we averted it through our prayers, but it didn't really wash, because right at the time of the prophecies, that the Soviet Union was breaking apart, and that was supposed to be who was going to bomb us. And so I felt like there was a big disconnect between what was actually happening and what the messages were saying. And so I didn't really, at that time, right away decide, oh, well, she's not talking to the masters anymore. It was just kind of like, well, whoever she's talking to, wherever this information is coming from, it's not right, and I'm not going to live my life based on it anymore. And it took me probably anywhere from, I'd say, 3 to 5 years after actually leaving Montana, coming back to Los Angeles, to sort of come to the realization in my mind that the masters were basically figments of her imagination. Well, no, I mean, she admitted that she abused power, and she admitted that she had done things that she regretted. But she never, I don't think, to her last conscious day, ever acknowledged that these messages came from inside of her. As opposed to from God, yeah. I mean, she even in her, right now she's living in a assisted living arrangement in Bozeman, and even in her little apartment that she has down there, she still has all of her pictures and statues and all the trappings of her messengership. And I think I'm glad that she has them there because it makes her feel comfortable and it's familiar for her. But it's also real for her, and I think that's sad. Because I think my mom didn't really ever get to live the life of a normal person. I mean, when she was younger, she played the piano, she played tennis, she did a number of things that, as she got older, she felt compelled to be this messenger for God. And it's just sad to me that, she had to give up a lot of what had been her, kind of childhood dreams and things that she wanted to do. And of course, that's her decision, but as her son and, looking back and seeing, what the kind of life maybe she had dreamed of when she was a little girl, I don't think she had that life. Maybe they've relaxed some of them now. I know that there's at least two factions in the organization. There's one that's more liberal and likes to doesn't really care if people drink or smoke or what color they wear or whatever. But then there's the more conservative kind of fundamentalist wing of the church, and there's that. I think that battle is going on very strongly within the organization between those who would like to have a more integrated, normal existence versus kind of a strict monastic existence. And so, under the old order, the way it was when we were growing up, there was no rock music, no alcohol, no cigarettes, no drugs of any kind, no sexual activity. People of the opposite sex were not allowed to talk to one another for more than 10 minutes. Those kind of things. Movies, no R-rated movies, very little limited television, mostly news and documentaries was all that was encouraged for people to watch. And so, we had a very restricted, even, reading materials were restricted to, more religious materials, and, any kind of novels or fiction was discouraged. So it was very kind of totalistic. Well, yeah, because here you have these people. My parents were rebels. They were iconoclasts in terms of established religion. They wanted to start their own thing, but then they went and they adopted the typical tenets of more very very Catholic, actually, very fundamentalist, kind of a New Age fundamentalism.